Hello everybody, I'm the Black Witch of Narnia. My obsession of having the perfect size 6 started since I was 14, therefore I can honestly declare that I'm an expert, but only just in theory, of the most extreme methods of losing weight among the risk they bring. When I read the article, I had some points in which I felt understandable for certain situations, and I suddenly realized how close I was to become mentally and physically sick by approaching some of the methods that pro-Ana girls use. To make you understand better, pro-Ana is a concept which includes several websites that promote anorexia by online embodiment, interacting and creating significant amount of support for those who need to be encouraged. This concept has a negative impact towards the society, especially young women, impact which has taken the symptoms of anorexia far away from the hospital walls by clearly using new media. pro-Ana represents a world of anorexia based on inspiration for the community created. Community which, according to Jills in 2006, is a non-recovery orientated. The inspirational things are the main benefits that pro-Ana women gain by being part of this community. In terms of authenticity and embodiment in online spaces, the article states that women should make themselves apparent, fact which is also promoted by the society and religion. According to me, beauty and body appearance is significant, and despite what pro-Ana websites promote, healthy is more important than appearance. I also agree with Mimi Nietzsche with the fact that discussion about diets and weight is only present between young women, because I identify myself with them. Pro-Ana community does not fight against gender stereotyping, and we can easily recognize that men are absent or less present. There is an interesting connection between Judy Butler's theory and the embodied self. Exactly how the gender is defined by ourselves and the way we choose to engage with the gender performativity, saying these participants engage with body performativity. One thing that shocked me about these communities is that they don't promise any feminist ideologies, but just the body perfection by their own standards. Well, the way that we do this is exaggeratedly aggressive and involves dirty language against the anorexic, those who pretend to be part of those communities. Anorexic often get bullied by the elite of this concept because of their lack of knowledge, experience, and involvement, which finally brings a lower self-esteem. The research was quite poor in my opinion because they only emphasized one social platform. MySpace was the most famous during those times, and some of the disadvantages of it were that once someone deletes her profile, the comments disappear as well, in this way creating lack of information about their opinion. Files states that pro-Ana identity is defensive because we live in a world in which the male sex is dominant, and women are trying to find different methods to undertake this fact. Overall, this article was interesting, and I can honestly say that it taught me a lot of these things regarding how important is health compared with the aspect, and also it makes me feel sorry for those communities which still exist, officially or non-officially, because they send a negative impact and a lower self-esteem to the others.
Hello, my name is Beauty. Unfortunately, Beast could not be with me today. pro-Ana is a collection of websites which promote anorexia as being a lifestyle choice rather than an eating disorder. While reading the article from Bureau and Pascoe, I feel that they themselves are promoting the pro-Ana web lifestyle, as anorexia mainly affects young women, even as young as 15, therefore seeking advice is difficult. By promoting these sites, even as negative, still draws attention to them. The article highlighted to me how weak-minded and lack of knowledge these pro-Ana girls have. They have substituted medical professional help for online tips and motivation to stay skinny. Pascoe's analytical view of these sites describes their behaviour as negative, which is something I agree with. However, throughout the article, there are terms such as supportive groups, support, and supporting communities, which are repeatedly used throughout. This positiveness is itself encouraging any reader with an eating disorder to then go and look at these websites. This idea that women post food diaries, photographs, and videos of their weigh-ins is very confusing. Anorexia is where women look into the mirror and see themselves as obese, more overweight than what they think they should be. However, if women are posting these things on the internet, that's them accepting that they are skinny, which obviously is not what anorexia is. The ones who gain the most weight, the one who lose the most weight, or look the most skinniest in their pictures, are rewarded power on these sites, in the sense that they're being told, oh, you are definitely anorexic, so therefore you can become a police of the website, which means they choose who is a anorexia, who are pretending to be anorexic. So obviously it gives them this sense of authority in this cyber lifestyle. Research shows that women are most likely to succeed in higher education in comparison to men, given this example of intelligence. However, these online communities show a vast amount of contradicting this
Do it again.
Okay.
However, you said something.
Research shows that women are most likely to succeed in higher education. In comparison to men, this is giving an example of how women are intelligent people. However, these online communities show a vast amount of women being exposed to the disorder, showing us to be ignorant, weak, and easily led. West and Zimmerman, gender isn't something we necessarily are, but something we do, expresses that gaining power on these websites fits this masculine lifestyle of dominance, even though they're still women through appearance.
Hello, I'm Tooth Fairy and I'm in holiday right now, and I'm gonna talk about anorexia. For anyone who's ever visited the ProAna site, the reason is clear. The content exchange in these online communities is often shocking. They use images of emaciated models and celebrities as thin inspiration for vulnerable girls, and include frank discussions on the best method of achieving extreme weight loss. Anorexia is the most deadly of all psychiatric disorders, and ProAna websites can especially distressing to family members and friends of those who are suffering from it. But it is precisely because anorexia is devastating and so stigmatized that such website may be a boon to some of those who visit them. Like similar groups for addicted people who are not ready to give up drugs, they can provide a rare source of non-judgmental support for people with eating disorders. Women relate their bodies through the thought they think about them and the behaviors that stem from those thoughts. As a woman grows, her body image is developed through personality, family, society, and media influences. The beauty industry influence on the body image of women contributes to the way a woman sees herself physically. In the US, for example, the ideal of a woman is thin, toned, and athletic. This image is propagated in fashion, diet, and beauty circles through focusing on women who have this body size and shape rather than a fair representation of women's body. Some liberal feminists believe that sexism causes anorexia and other eating disorders. In other words, gender stereotyping creates an unequal burden on women to to maintain an ideal feminine appearance or behavior. The fitness and diet industry makes millions of dollars a year selling such an ideal to women. Radical feminists believe that women are being exploited because men profit from the thin ideal. Thus, feminists want to resist the thin ideal.
Hi, I am Mustafa the Amazing, and today I'm here to dazzle you with my magic tricks. But first things first, I want to talk about week 6 article. This article is based on the study of anorexia and how it's thriving online. So it's based on how people are now trying to move online and forming communities in which they can exist. And according to this article, these communities serve as a platform for them to either share information on how they are recovering, for example, from their anorexic disorder in the beginning, or to make them feel better in an instance. But the first thing you get when you read this article is that there's another side to it. Pro-anorexic communities or pro-ana communities are not just formed for the betterment of those getting out of disorder. Some are formed to be able to continue seeing the beauty in anorexia. So they help people to see anorexia as a luxury, and they help them to hide their condition, and they show them ways in which to make hunger a priority. So all these communities exist, and they've moved online. They become online communities, and they include blogs, websites, journals, and e-magazines. So there are some points I want to talk about today. And the first thing I want to talk about is the ideology of authenticity online. First of all, I want to talk about how members establish authenticity online or within an online group. In an interview by the Office Hours website, Buero and Pascoe talked about what's the importance is of moving beyond the individual and trying to understand what anorexia itself is in both negative and positive aspects. And they talked about how the pro-ana revolution represents women getting out of being anorexic, but different ways in which other people try and promote it. So on such websites or on such online forums and communities, there's this issue of authenticity. How do you know that the person you're talking to or the person who is helping you came from an anorexic background and is solving an issue? Or how do you know if they're a troll or if they want to bring you down? The thing is, there are different ways in which they do this. There's, according to this article, they do weigh-ins, they send pictures of themselves, and in all that they try to establish that they are real people and they are not just fictional people. And this moves on to talk about the sort of utopian and dystopian notions of feminism online. So in this instance, you're not really sure where it stands. If it's a utopian notion of feminism, then it will mean that these online worlds are perfect and that if you want help and you go there, you get people to help you. But I see it as more of, not a dystopian, but just in the middle, just on the border of utopian and dystopian. Because if you say it's dystopian, then it means it's imperfect and there's no one there to help. But I feel as if, not just from this article, but from other readings, you can tell that people want to help, whereas in other ways people don't want to help. So it's not perfectly utopian and it's not imperfectly dystopian. Another thing I want to talk about is another theory is the discourse of anorexia itself. It seems to be heavily gendered on females with respect to males. From all the things I've seen, looking at websites like Bigot, all of the things I've seen are mostly gendered with the female discourse. But when you look at this discourse from an angle, trying to use Foucault's discourse analysis, you could relate it to the concept of a power struggle. I feel as if these women are trying to use a form of hunger strike, or because it's psychological. To me, this illness is psychological. So I feel as if they're trying to use a form of hunger strike to try and tell people that they are women, they are free to do what they want to do with their bodies, and they do not have to conform to society and to the natural norms of what feminism are, the natural feminism instinct. So through that language and through that form of communication, this is what Foucauldian discourse analysis helps me to think about when it comes to such a theory. Now I'm done with the theories. I'd like to talk about the research methods. I feel as if this was a very good means of a digital online research. They did good by looking at a lot of websites, and it turned out really good. The only thing that I felt they missed out on was it was heavily gendered, and I feel as if there are a lot of disorders that they could have looked at, like promia, which is pro-bulimia, people recovering from bulimia. It should have almost been the same. I feel as if they could have looked there as well. And I feel as if they could have done more by looking at the male gender as well, because I don't think it's only women that have this issue or this disorder with anorexia. So that is about it. So now, prepare to be amazed. This is my magic trick. Pick any number from 1 to 9. Are you done? Just pick any number from 1 to 9. Now, I want you to multiply what you have by 2. Now, add the number 4. Just 4. Add the number 4 to whatever you have. Now, divide all you have by 2 again. So first of all, pick a number, multiply it by 2, add 4, divide what you have by 2, and subtract the number you first took. So the number you took in the beginning, subtract it from what you have now, and Shazam, you have 2. Thank you very much. That's my magic trick.